Manchester, Connecticut. A small, sleepy town a couple of hours north of Manhattan. If you're going to move for a job in the city, you would think the Big Apple is the place to go. Think again. So how much do you know about Moncton?
I would say not too much. Whoa, this looks like fun, doesn't it?
Not much is a start, considering a few months ago, Nicola Graham hadn't even heard of the place. But that was before the scrappy little Canadian city came calling. And now this engineering specialist and her family may be the next ones to come from away.
It seems to be up and coming. Like there's a lot of hiring and it's growing, which is always good. You know, it's a nice small town, there's a beach. I mean, you know, how much better can it get?
Who knew Moncton, New Brunswick is where it's at? Yep, there are nearly 1,000 openings in the city today and at least 1,000 more jobs coming soon, many of them in high-skilled trades like IT. But there aren't enough qualified people here to fill them. Not enough qualified people in Canada willing to move here. So Moncton, a city poised to boom, devised a plan to not go bust.
Now we see an opportunity with the United States with the new president. And
Donald Arsenault is the Minister of Immigration in the only province in Canada with a declining population. He really needs people to move here. So when he saw a Trump card, he didn't think twice about playing it.
There are people looking elsewhere. They're maybe uncertain about their future in their own country. Maybe they want to look elsewhere. And we feel that Canada, you know, with the strong values and principles that we do have, is so important, and it's who we are. And I think that opens a lot of eyes.
Moncton has peddled its maritime charm and low cost of living to prospective employees before. But in a savvy move, it figured the time was politically right to make that pitch south of the border. So one day after the U.S. election, a day after Donald Trump won, New Brunswick launched a bold campaign and announced it would be holding a job fair in the U.S. The phone started ringing off the hook.
I'm leaning towards this one, but...
Graham was one of the first to call and bought a new interview outfit. She and her husband, Mark, don't need jobs. They both have good ones here in IT. But a sense of foreboding set in last fall, and she can't shake it.
It's not about what's going to happen tomorrow or what's going to happen the next week. I'm more worried about what's going to happen in the future, and I'm trying to act on it before it happens. You want to drive your train, buddy?
Graham has always worried about gun violence. It's made her question raising her son here. But the tipping point came when Trump got elected, and race-related incidents started to rise.
I've been living here for a while, and I've just gotten used to this being my home, and now I have to think, is it really my home? Am I really welcome here? What's going to happen in the future? You know, am I going to actually eventually run into somebody that tells me I need to go back to where I'm from? I mean, I don't know.
Now, based on some of the leadership and some of the comments, it comes across as it's okay now to be, as Nicola mentioned, more emboldened. So these fringe groups are no longer being on the fringe, and they're also gathering up quite a good following.
Last bag.
The opportunity to leave those fears behind became more real a few weeks ago, when word finally came that after months of delays, Moncton was holding that American job fair in New York City. The Grahams packed up and hit the road to find out more.
Hi. My name is New Brunswick.
And New Brunswick was ready and waiting. Sure, it may all seem a little hokey, but a laid-back lifestyle is part of what seems to be a winning package. Hundreds of people turned up at the job fair. So many, Carrie Alberts didn't have time to take a break. And this was after all the calls she had taken.
Most of the calls that I was getting right off the very start was, we need to come now. Why are you not coming until February? You know, you're looking for me now. It's November, it's December. You know, so I think a lot of that right out of the gate was great. The sense of urgency was huge.
Alberts works for 3Plus, an economic development company that is helping the province recruit workers. It was a provocative move to pounce on the political anxiety here, but it got the job done.
it did what we wanted it to do. We wanted to get the message out that we have companies that are in Moncton that are looking to hire skilled employees, and that's what we got. So it was great.
Moncton figured it would tap into something, and it did. A growing sense of unease among minorities in the U.S. The messaging was not accidental. It was aimed at people like Graham.
It sounds promising. It's probably going to be competitive because it's job-based, and of course there's usually more applicants in their jobs. But you know, I'm confident I stand out in some way.
And like Graham, many of the people who turned up have multiple degrees and already have good jobs. But like Hong Sun, aren't American citizens yet, and suddenly aren't sure they ever will be.
The uncertainty makes me nervous. At this time, I think Canada is more open to accepting foreign workers and new immigrants.
It definitely works to our advantage. We are Canadians, we are Maritimers, and we certainly will welcome them all with open arms. We have never gotten this many resumes.
Shelley Butler helps run Dovico, a software company in Moncton. She sent a representative to the job fair in New York and was stunned by what she got back.
I kind of let out a little holler and I said, girls, come and check out what we got.
With free yoga and chef-made meals, Dovico already prides itself on making its employees happy. But like any other IT company in this city, it has room to grow. It just never expected more than 200 resumes.
To get 215 from people who didn't know us, yeah, I was overwhelmed. Truly, I was overwhelmed, yeah. There really wasn't any expectation.
It is striking, Butler says, that nearly every applicant is a visible minority and is highly skilled. A brain drain that is Moncton's gain, and not just an economic one.
We want to have that cultural diversity. We want to see that. We have very little of it here in the greater Moncton area, and we are looking to get a whole lot more of it. So if Dovico can be a part of having those minority groups come in, and we can show them what a great asset they can be here and how happy they can be in our community is important.
The soft sell, friendly town, access to the coast has another ace too. A new government program that will offer permanent residency status to any new hire, cutting months of red tape. If you haven't figured it out already, Moncton is playing to win.
You can't just sit in your backyard and wait for everybody to come to you. We have to go out there and present that message, and that's what we've done in New York.
And this is a critical time to survive or thrive. MLT, another software company, is looking to double its 40-person workforce as soon as possible.
So I think it's a good thing that we can offer this. Jeff is already into it.
Charles Gervais runs the place. Along with competitive salaries, fast-tracking residency status is a huge selling point, he says, especially to people feeling less welcome south of the border.
In our books, they're all humans, they all have a need, we have a need, so it's to bridge this gap to make our business sustainable.
It's fair game, basically.
Yes, exactly.
In fact, 5 people here were hired on the spot. It may seem impulsive to just pick up and go to a humble city that has trouble getting Canadians to move there. But for Graham, waiting it out feels risky too.
It's more than just a president. It's more than just an administration. So and then the culture. I mean, if the culture is so that people become anti-immigrants, it doesn't matter who leaves. If he leaves in 4 years, that's still going to be there. So it's more than just what's happening in the current administration. It's bigger than that, at least for me.
Graham hasn't had any offers yet. Moncton is still taking resumes, and if its plucky pitch pays off, the small maritime city may just prove to be the land of opportunity no one had heard of before. Joanna Brumiliotis, CBC News, Moncton.